Hi everyone, I hope everyone's doing well, hope everyone's feeling good. So something different today. Today I'm with Ashley James, who is the founder of Shape MK, and we're going to do a Keyworker session, which is a bit of a counselling session type therapy session, and hopefully this will be beneficial to many of my subscribers battling with addiction problems, mental health issues, anxiety, depression stuff. So we're going to maybe do this on a weekly basis. So I'll introduce you to Ashley. Thank you, Ashley.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, Ashley James, founder of Shape MK. So addiction treatment program that Matt has kindly offered to help us get off the ground in Milton Keynes. And really what we're trying to do with this is encourage anyone with mental health issues to be comfortable to open up and talk about it. And that's what Shape MK hopes to push. So this is going to be a 20-minute Keyworker session, slightly different to a therapy session. I'm not a qualified therapist. Our qualified therapists work with Shape MK, but with me it's going to be a Keyworker session with Matt today. Thank you very much. Right. Hi Matt.
Hi.
As I said before, Ashley, Shape MK. 3 things we offer. One is group therapy sessions for addiction and mental health. Second is therapy sessions with BACP approved therapists. And this, which is a Keyworker session, more practical based than a therapy session. And this is what we're going to be doing, hopefully on a weekly basis, depending on how you take to it and how you feel. Now, Keyworker sessions, we are person-centered based. So person-centered means the client runs with the session. They choose what they would like to discuss. It can be anything past, present or future, anything you're struggling with. It doesn't even necessarily have to be anything you're struggling with. It could be something that you're happy about, anything that you would like to discuss. And we're doing this on your channel, Matt, because we want to encourage as many people as possible to open up, to talk freely, and to seek help and support when they need it. So this is going to be a 20-minute session. I would like you to use this space as you see fit. What would you like to bring today, Matt?
Wow, there's a lot to think about. I've been thinking about it, and I'm just curious as to why I do some of the things I do. That's one of my main things.
Okay.
Like for instance, I have a thing about time going too quickly as well. Like if I see a film that came out 30 years ago, it starts to make me get worried and stuff that time's gone quick. So
Right.
a bit of an anxiety over, maybe it's an anxiety of getting old, I don't know. But I always listen to 80s music as well for some reason, always 80s, which was my childhood.
Right.
From the age of, well, born in 1976, so 80s I was 4 up to 14. And obviously carefree, young, no, you're shielded from the negative stuff in the world as a kid, especially living in Bradwell Village in Milton Keynes. It was a lovely, peaceful upbringing, and maybe I always wonder why I'm always going back to that 80s stuff, and I get a little bit of a nostalgia, like a little pain sometimes, if I listen to certain songs and it takes me back there and I feel like I'm missing those days.
Okay.
But I just wondered whether that's a common thing with people, like an anxiety of time.
So you've connected that to aging, potentially.
Yeah.
How do you feel about getting older, Matt?
Some days it's fine, and some days I feel young.
Okay.
If I'm training and feeling fit and going doing 20-mile bike rides and doing all my chin-ups, and I feel like I'm 20 still.
Yeah.
And then other days I think, it worries me, that the aging process.
Right.
And you think, and it's the fact of how quick time goes as you get older.
Yeah.
The older you get, the quicker it goes, because it's relative to how long you've been alive. You know, when you're a little kid, when you're 7, 8 years old, the 6 weeks holidays at school goes on forever.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you're 50, coming up to 50, 6 weeks is gone like that.
Yeah.
Because it's relative to how long you've been alive. And it's, yeah, I don't feel old. I feel fit. I'm still training, still exercising, which I have to do. But it's just seeing everyone else get older, like my mates' mum and dads getting into their 70s, and remembering them when they were younger than me, in their 30s. And now you see them get hit in 70 and you think, wow, that time's gone like that.
Is there any fear when you think about getting old? What springs to mind when you picture 80-year-old Mr. Legg? Where is he? What's he doing?
I never thought I'd even see my 30s though, to be honest. So I want to be there for my kids and stuff like that, and I want to be healthy, and which is why I've stopped doing certain things, unhealthy lifestyle choices like the drugs and stuff. I've stopped. Still have a drink now. I've had 4 months off the drink, but I want to be healthy and prolong my life a bit. Good food and drinking plenty of water and exercising. But I do worry that my worries really in life are my kids. Things happening to my kids because I've got 3 boys. That's the thing I worry about the most, and I just don't want to get any horrible illness when I'm older, which is probably what most people don't want to get. It's a common thing, but because I saw my nan passed away with dementia, and my dad in the same space of a few months had lung cancer and liver cancer.
Wow.
Probably through drinking and smoking all his life.
Right.
So things like that, that probably worries me the most. I'm not a big worrier about stuff really. I've got a way of dealing with nerves normally, but things like that are out of your control, aren't they?
They are, unfortunately. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to the fear of getting older. It won't be long until my hair's the same style as yours, Matt. I haven't got long to go. I'm clinging on to it. When you think of the future, are there things to look forward to?
Yeah. I look forward to everything. Each day I look forward to little things. I'm not very materialistic really. I look forward to things like beautiful days like this, going out in the countryside, trying to do things with my kids, but they're growing up now, they're all teenagers now, so, and Matty's in his 20s, so I don't see him as much, but I look forward to going out with Katie, doing walks, go cinema. I still, now I've started drinking again, not every day, but I drink maybe once a week.
Okay.
But I'll have a couple of bottles of wine and watch my old films that I re-watch over and over again, which we spoke about.
Yeah.
I've got a thing about re-watching my favourite films. It could be anything, Unforgiven, it could be cowboy film, anything that gives a bit of emotion to me, whether it's sadness, happiness, or just entertaining. I have to watch something that really grabs my attention, and I re-watch the same films over and over.
Right. Okay.
But I look for a lot to look forward to. My kids growing up and having kids themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm looking forward to helping people out as well with stuff like Shape MK.
Yeah.
And I've been asked to jump in with some other charities as well, helping people. So I'm looking forward to doing that. If I can share some of my experiences and maybe it'll resonate with other people, that would be good to give something back.
So do you feel like you're moving on to a new chapter in the chaotic at times Matt Legg story?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're moving on to the next chapter?
Yeah, it does feel like that. Yeah. Hopefully a lot more calmer, and a lot of a calmer chapter.
Right.
Because I'm nearly 47 coming up soon, so it's about time that everything calmed down a bit. Yeah.
And how do you feel when you say calm? What does calm look like in Matt's world?
Just not getting into any fights and crime and things like that anymore. Just keeping well away from that. I do my work. I train people boxing, as you know.
Yeah.
I do my exercising. Just a normal everyday life. See my kids when I can. Do little things with Katie. We go to the coffee shop and we do our walks and in between work. My YouTube channel, obviously.
Yeah.
Takes up quite a bit of time to do the videos and stuff. So just that sort of straightforward, peaceful, quiet, everyday life that everyone else has, I'd imagine.
And how do you feel when you're picturing this picturesque, calm existence? Is it fulfilling?
Yeah. I always think something's going to happen though. Something will come.
Right.
You know, you have that thought that something will
come around the corner.
Come out, yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know, just the way things are. I think maybe something. Yeah, there'll always be something to like a fly in the ointment will happen at some point. Whether it's trouble with my kids because they're going through those ages where they get into trouble and stuff, and maybe I'll have to help them out in some way, or who knows. I just think of every eventuality.
Right.
I've always had that analytical mind where I think about all eventualities that could happen about certain things. Probably why I didn't get into a lot of trouble for all of the stuff I was doing as a youngster, because I always thought of consequences and stuff like that, and I was fairly careful and did think a lot about it.
So I'm cheating a bit here because this is something you actually mentioned to me when we had Nando's regarding your sons.
Yeah.
There's a worry in you at times. You've got, obviously every parent has a worry for their children. They don't want them to get into any trouble. How do you manage that worry? Where does the worry stem from? Is it from you knowing how you were at their age? And
yeah, it's because they've already got into some scrapes and fights,
right,
and things like that. And I know they're like me; they don't want to back down from situations exactly like I was, and that's what worries me. Because nowadays it's all knife crime and everyone's carrying knives, and one stab in the wrong place and someone could die, which happens all the time. In fact, their mates have been killed in knife crime, and that's what worries me the most.
Yeah.
I'm going to be part of an anti-knife crime campaign as well with a few people. That's another thing I'm involved in, not at the minute, but will be. So that is the main worry really, because it's rife. Milton Keynes is one of the worst places now for knife crime.
Sadly, yeah. Yeah. I mean, what advice do you speak with them frequently? Do you tell them to kind of try to diffuse these situations, as hard as it is sometimes to back down? It's the right thing to do. I mean, what advice do you give them? What advice would you give Mini Matt when Matt was that age?
Well, now I know about it, or I would say keep away from the places, the people. Just keep away from it. And if my advice with knife crime, if you see a knife, run the other way.
What's worth it?
Yeah, because one little nick in the wrong place could be.
Yeah, it is scary. So what we've touched on, we're about halfway through session. What we've touched on is firstly an anxiety that's connected to time passing, which we've then drawn across to aging. I can certainly relate to that. Horrible, nasty thing. We then very briefly touched on repetitive behaviours that you do, and then we've touched on some of the worries that you have with your boys. How do you manage anxiety, generally speaking, Matt, on a day-to-day basis? We've all got things that worry us. I've certainly got mine. What are your coping mechanisms?
Well, what actually happened was I actually had a panic attack about 6-7 years ago. So I was drinking Friday, Saturday, Sunday, lot of drinking for the 3 days, and then I was sitting in bed on the Monday with a cup of green tea and just suddenly got a panic attack. Didn't know what it was. So what I did, I researched it and I found out how to combat anxiety. So I delved into it, really done my research, because you've got to know your enemy, haven't you?
Absolutely.
To combat them. So I looked into it and I realised things like magnesium tablets, potassium, good food in general, no alcohol specifically, because if you drink alcohol, especially that amount in 3 days, it releases adrenaline. So when you're sitting there nice and calm on the Monday, that adrenaline release is fight or flight, which is where the anxiety comes from.
Yeah.
So I realised then never to do them 3-day sessions again on the drink, and I haven't. Exercise, getting out in the fresh air. The minute I feel a bit jittery, like I had a little bit this morning, I'll go out in the fresh air,
Right.
and I'll do some exercise, release some serotonin, feel good chemicals. Cold baths and cold showers, that really helps me.
Yeah.
Massively. Especially, and breathing as well. Deep breathing, especially when you're having a cold bath or shower. Deep breathing, that can relax you.
Yes.
Sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, that can trigger anxiety. I mean, I think because I've never had it since. I've never had it since that initial panic attack, or I might have had a few in that week. But once I learnt about how to deal with it, I've kept it at bay. So as soon as I feel anything coming on, I'll then go out and do everything I can to stop it.
What did the panic attack feel like, Matt?
The panic attack felt like I was claustrophobic. I felt like everything was closing in.
Right.
And I realised then I've had it when I was boxing. When I used to spar with people in the gym,
wow,
it was all connected to my breath. So say I got out of breath whilst I'm in the ring with someone, another professional boxer. Once I got out of breath, I would feel like the room's closing in. I had to jump out the ring and run outside to get in the fresh air. So I realised then I've had them before.
Right. Okay.
But I just thought it was to do with my asthma, my breathing, but it is to do with your breathing. So being fit and healthy as well helps. When I'm super fit and my breathing's really good, that helps. And heart rate's low, stuff like that. But yeah, it was horrible. It was really, really claustrophobic.
Right.
Didn't know what there was nothing for me to be worried about, so why was I worried? Yeah. And that was the strange thing. It's like, well, what's going on? But now I know what it is, and you've got to accept it, and you've got to accept it's happening, and let it happen. You can't fight it off. Accept it, and then.
Yeah, I mean, anxiety is the worst thing to get in the ring with. You can, as soon as you start fighting with anxiety, it's a losing battle. Sometimes you have to accept it.
Yeah.
Don't hide from it. But certainly don't get into the ring with it, because it will just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you can catastrophize. And a bit of clarity, a bit of perspective, and it can subside. But what impact does exercise have on?
It pretty
Obviously,
much.
it's a big part of your life, Matt. So.
Yeah, exercise pretty much eliminates any negative mental health issues, anxiety, depression. It takes away all of that for me personally. Because I've been training since I was 13 years old, weight training.
Yeah.
Then I was boxing from the age of 18 and doing my running, stair running, all outside as well. I've always trained outside with the running and stuff. So it's probably a necessity for me to train, because I've always been releasing that serotonin, those feel-good chemicals from a young age. So I think I need that in my life. And without that, after a couple of days, I'll feel that negativity coming in again. Right. So I have to go and exercise, or fresh air walks, stair running, weights, boxing, anything like that. And it just keeps it all at bay. Yeah. It keeps it at bay. Anything.
Do you worry about the impact that aging is going to have on your ability to keep fit?
I did think about that, yeah. I thought about it. I've got a good friend of mine who's a couple of years older, and he's had heart operations, and he can't do the stuff that he loved to do, his training and stuff, and it's affecting him because it's his hands are tied now. He's restricted to what he can do, and you need to have that exercise, and that does worry me. Yeah, I mean I'm nearly 20 stone, so ideally I want to get down to 17 stone. Right. Because I don't want to be this heavy as I get older, because it's pressure. Yeah. And knees and stuff like that, and heart. So, but at the minute I feel good, healthy and fit, and I can go out and do 20-mile bike ride with ease. I can still do chin-ups and stuff like that, and so I'm still feeling alright. But I think it speeds up as you get into 50 and beyond. It's going to speed up that aging process. Right. But I think you can do certain things to slow it down, and eat healthy, and just don't poison your body with too much alcohol and things like that. I don't do drugs anymore. 3 years in October. I've done one night of cocaine in 2.5 years, and that's pretty much gone now. And that was only because I went to Milton Keynes and got on the drink, and then that was the gateway to that.
Yeah.
But it was one night, and then I just didn't get back on it again.
Well done, Matt. That's a big one to put to the side. So we have a couple of minutes left.
Yeah.
On this session, we spoke about aging, the anxiety on age. Talk about behaviours. Briefly touched on your sons as well and your worry for them. How have you felt being able to discuss some of these things?
Good, actually. Yeah, feels good.
Yeah.
To get it out. Yeah. Yeah, it does feel good. I was going to say as well, actually, the drinking thing. I had 4 months off the drink.
Yeah.
Up until January.
Right.
And then I got ill January for like 2 weeks, and I couldn't train. I couldn't do all my good stuff. And I thought, oh, I might as well have a drink now. So I started having a drink, and that's opened up the door again. But I'm only doing it once or twice a week tops. Like I went to the shop this morning and I saw my favourite wine was on discount, and as soon as I saw that, and then I saw the whiskey was on £10 off as well, the Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
And because it's bank holiday weekend, this weekend here is normally one of my big drinking weekends because it's a 4-day weekend.
Yeah.
So that temptation's still there. But I don't go to the pubs.
Okay.
If I do drink, I'll drink indoors, but I'm going to try not to this weekend and get fit.
I mean, how would you like your relationship with alcohol to be in an ideal world?
I'm happy with it at the moment where it's not too regular.
Yeah.
And it's like I feel like when I've done my work, my training, my YouTube videos, seen the kids, done everything I feel like I need to, I feel like I can have one day to have a few. I have 2 bottles of wine, that's what I'll do. Yeah. And maybe a couple of shots of whiskey.
Okay.
Which in my life is not a major amount compared to what I used to do.
Yeah.
I've done things like 5 bottles of wine and bottle and a half of whiskey and things like that. So this is not as bad. So I'm managing to moderate it slightly.
Okay.
So yeah. But yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've been happy to talk about it actually. It's good to get it off my chest, and hopefully other people will be able to either benefit from it and learn that they can do it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for your time today, Matt.
Thank you.
I would just like to plant one seed in your head for our next session, maybe something to reflect on in the week. As you get older, as we all get older, at the grand age of 35, my knees are going already. There's already things in the gym that I can't do that I used to be able to do. How are you going to manage your anxiety and be content if you were to lose the ability to exercise? Just something to reflect on, something to think about. Obviously that's a go-to for you. It's a very integral part of your existence. If and when you slowly start to lose that, what coping mechanisms are in place to mitigate potential upcoming anxieties it could cause? So mull that over and I'll attack you on that next week.
That is a good question.
But how do you feel at the moment as we come to the end of the...
No, very good, yeah, very good.
Yeah?
Relaxed, yeah, very good. Yeah, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Matt.
Cheers, thank you. And thank you everyone. I appreciate that, and please leave a like, please share and subscribe.
Thank you very much, guys.